Hello everyone, it's Susan here. Welcome to my channel. So today I am working on the second prompt for the Roxy's Journal of Stitchery Volume 2 collaboration, and it's about creating like a village, so multiple houses or whatever, right? So this is the end result that I want to create. Now, let me just say something that since I'm going to be using this to journal my December, so every page has, I want to say almost like an interactive element to it. Like we know that this calendar is going to end up in here, maybe with some pictures put in there as well. But this here is what in the paper crafting world we call it's a tuck spot. Really, it is it's kind of like a pocket, but it's not sewn on 3 sides, it's only sewn on 2 sides, so therefore it makes a tuck spot to put something. Now this is too big, but just as an example, once this is sewn down, these 2 sides, this side and this side, will be open. So there will be a place to tuck pictures or journaling or whatever. Sometimes I add receipts in here, or, you know, pictures of food, that kind of thing, that, or even cookies that I've baked, that, you know, something that I've done in December. So that's what this is going to be. It's going to be a tuck spot. So this was what I came up with. Well, obviously the fabric up here is snowflakes, so I kind of like that look. At first I was like, oh my gosh, I can't do blue because there's no blue on this side and it's gonna look funny, and you know, but I think it looks okay. I think it is acceptable. I don't need the 2 sides to match perfectly. But then, so that's going to get sewn up there. And this down here, this piece of trim is going to end up getting sewn down here. And that's going to act like there's snow on the ground. It's silver, shiny silver. So that's going to end up down there. So the way I have these houses on here is I have them pinned onto this piece of burlap. So I'm going to sew the houses and the roofs down onto this piece of burlap. Right, so this is going to stay as one piece. Now, what I found interesting was that I actually do have another piece of fabric under here, because I wasn't going to do this blue, because like I said, well, there's no blue on this side, but I've gotten over that. So when I put this back on here, this kind of looks like a house itself, right? It does. I didn't put it there. It just happens to be part of the fabric underneath. But when I have that there, I'm like, oh, well, I can make it look like it's 4 houses instead of 3. So that's what I'm going to do. So when I take that away, I have this little piece here. I can cut it into, you know, a different shape for the roof of the house, or I can leave it as is, but that's going to end up there. And so I think what I'm going to do is let's go ahead and pin some of this down, and just so I make sure I remember what I'm doing. So I'm not going to sew this right now. So as it turns out, I'm using this fabric as my block. I didn't intend for it to be like that, but I'm gonna roll with it. I'm just gonna roll with it. I kind of feel like I'm wasting some fabric, but I'm gonna roll with it. I have plenty of fabric. And just to show you, and we will do a little bit of sewing like I said, but I finished the front of my journal, so I'm super excited about that. Well, I finished the front, not the back, and that's on purpose. But for now, this is what the journal would look like closed. Now, I am debating on taking some of this very shiny gold eyelash trim and maybe sewing some down here. I even thought, well, it would look pretty over here, but then I thought, well, I think it might look prettier over here. So, but I'm still deciding on that. I'm not 100% convinced. I did end up sewing a little piece of black lace on the end, and I sewed these flowers on, and then I sewed this piece down. And then once all of my signatures are sewn in there, because you're going to be able to see it on the spine here, then I'll end up sewing this on here, but that's later. That's at the very end. So, and I also sewed this down. So this page is down, and this page is sewn on. This page is sewn on. So now we're working on this page. But I'm going to move that to the side because the first thing that I need to do is to get the houses sewn down. So I'm just going to continue on using the straight stitch. And, you know, this is, I'm not going to be able to sew the whole top of the roof because, well, this burlap doesn't go up that high, but that's all right. It's going to be fine. It's not going to be an issue. Did I just go in from the wrong way? Oh, wait, I'm getting stuck on a, there we go. Nope, I did good. A lot of times, almost every single video, I feel like I end up going in from the bottom when I should have got in through the top and vice versa. But I'm just gonna put this down. I mean, working on the burlap, you know, I mean, you're kind of like sewing in between those threads, and that's fine, you know. So I'm not sewing this like with a bunch of small stitches. I'm going a little bit bigger because, I mean, it's just a simple little piece of fabric, so not hard at all to sew down. So now this is interesting. You know what? Let me zoom in a little bit. So this is interesting. What I was going to do was come down and do another stitch along here, but I don't know that I need to do that. I think what I'll do is, you know, I came down the side there, so I am going to put a stitch over here. I mean, the top, the roof is definitely a little wonky. You know, I have absolutely positively decided or come to the realization that pretty much all of my stitching is wonky, and I don't necessarily plan for that. But that's just how it is. I guess I'm just a messy stitcher, I guess. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to go around and finish stitching these houses down. Okay, so my little houses, my little village is sewn on to the burlap. And so now, well, let's see, what do I want to do next? I guess next, I probably want to sew these pieces on next. So I think I'll just stick with the white thread and let's get that done. At this point, the background is all sewn down. Yes, I did go over the edge and I left it on there. You know what? It's just who I am. Okay, so now I'm just going to sew down the two sides. And on the bottom, I want to remember to sew on the snow, the piece of trim, which is going to look like snow. And then that's it. That's it for this page. All right, so I'm going to go down and then I'm just going to sew along the bottom, but I want to sew that on as well. So let me see, maybe I should put a little pin here. And let's get this down. So I sewed it wonky again on the bottom just a little bit, and you know, even when I pin it, I sew it wonky. So this is done. So now when come December, when I work on this to document my December, I will have this as a tip, not a tip in, a tuck spot to put something in. So again, it's going to be something like that. Actually, that looks really nice. So that's what it is. It's a tuck spot. It's to tuck something into. And that's it. So wow, I did that fast. Probably because I actually took time yesterday to figure out what I wanted to do. So I knew exactly what I wanted to do, and there you go. So I'm not going to sew it onto the page just yet because I want to do the opposite block first and then figure out how I want to get them sewn on here. But that is going to go right there. So that's it. So I will be back next week and we'll figure out what I'm going to work on next week. Now that I got this done, I already did my tab. My tab is over here, which I cleaned up a little bit and added a piece of lace. I don't know. We'll see. I have no idea. But I'll be back next Wednesday. All right, thanks so much for being here. God bless. Bye-bye.